Last night's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire exploded into chaos when Denzel Washington declared, "I'm done with this show," and walked off set, leaving Jimmy Kimmel stunned and the audience in complete shock. What started as a celebrity charity edition turned into the most devastating confrontation in game show history. The two-time Oscar winner didn't just leave. He demolished Kimmel's credibility on the way out. The taping began like any other celebrity edition. The ABC studios gleamed with their signature lighting. The audience filed in excitedly, ready to watch Hollywood legend Denzel Washington play for his beloved Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Kimmel sat behind his host's desk, shuffling question cards, appearing relaxed and ready for what everyone assumed would be light entertainment mixed with charitable giving. Washington entered to thunderous applause, his commanding presence filling the studio. He shook Kimmel's hand professionally and settled into the hot seat. "Denzel, wonderful to have you here," Kimmel began warmly. "Tell us about the Boys and Girls Clubs and why they matter to you." Washington's voice carried genuine emotion. "Jimmy, that organization saved my life as a kid. Kept me focused, taught me discipline. I've been giving back for 40 years because I know what they do for young people who need guidance." "Beautiful story," Kimmel said, though his smile seemed calculated. "Discipline, traditional values. Very old school. Some might say outdated in today's world." Washington's eyes narrowed slightly. "I don't think keeping kids safe is outdated, Jimmy." "Of course not," Kimmel replied quickly. "Let's play." "For $1,000, which planet is known as the Red Planet?" "Mars," Washington answered. "Correct. Mars, the god of war." "Speaking of war, you've played so many violent characters, Denzel. The Equalizer, Man on Fire. Do you worry about glorifying violence?" Washington shifted in his seat. "Those films are about justice, Jimmy. About protecting the innocent." "Vigilante justice," Kimmel corrected. "Taking law into your own hands. Very American. Very problematic, wouldn't you say?" The audience sensed the shift. This wasn't playful anymore. Washington's jaw tightened. "Let's continue with the game, Jimmy." "For $2,000, Kimmel read, "which amendment guarantees freedom of speech?" "The First Amendment," Washington replied. "Right. Freedom of speech. Something you're very careful about using, aren't you?" Kimmel leaned back. "You never talk politics. Never take stands." "Why is that, Denzel?" "Afraid of controversy." "I believe in letting my work speak for itself," Washington said evenly. "But don't you have a responsibility?" Kimmel pressed. "With your platform, your influence? Staying silent when the world needs voices." "Silent." Washington's voice carried an edge. "I've built community centers. Put hundreds of kids through college. That's not silence, Jimmy. That's action." "But you won't speak out publicly," Kimmel insisted. "You won't use your voice for change." Washington stood slowly. The movement was controlled, but everyone felt the energy shift. "My voice. You want to talk about voice? Every night you turn serious issues into punchlines. Is that using your voice for change?" "At least I take positions," Kimmel shot back, his face reddening. "You take positions that get ratings," Washington corrected. "There's a difference between courage and performance." "So you're calling me fake?" Kimmel's voice rose. "I'm calling you what you are," Washington said calmly. "An entertainer pretending activism is the same as action." The studio was electric with tension. Kimmel stood now too. "At least I'm trying to make a difference." "No, you're trying to make yourself relevant," Washington replied. "You're using real issues as content for your show. That's rich coming from someone who won't even acknowledge those issues exist," Kimmel snapped. Washington's eyes blazed. "Won't acknowledge? I've lived as a black man in America for 70 years. I don't need to acknowledge what I've lived through every single day." "Then why won't you talk about it?" Kimmel demanded. "Because I don't owe you my trauma for your entertainment," Washington said, his voice rising. "I don't owe you my politics for your ratings." "This is about accountability," Kimmel insisted desperately. "No, this is about your ego," Washington shot back. "This is about you needing everyone to think like you, act like you, perform like you." He took a step toward the exit, then turned back. "You know what? I'm done with this show." "You're walking away?" Kimmel called out. "Typical. Run when it gets tough." Washington stopped, turned slowly. His voice was ice. "I'm not running, Jimmy. I'm refusing to participate in your circus. There's a difference between leaving and being driven out." "This is cowardice," Kimmel shouted. "Cowardice?" Washington laughed bitterly. "Cowardice is ambushing a guest who came here for charity. Cowardice is using your platform to attack instead of unite. I'm trying to have a real conversation, Kimmel protested. No, you're trying to have a moment, Washington corrected. You want a viral clip. You want to be the host who got Denzel Washington to crack. Well, congratulations, Jimmy. You got your moment. He looked directly at the camera. To everyone watching, I apologize. The boys and girls clubs deserve better than this. Please donate directly to them. Then back to Kimmel. As for you, I'm done. Done with this show, done with this conversation, done with you. So that's it. Kimmel's voice cracked. You're just going to leave? I'm going to do what I've always done, Washington said. Work. Help kids. Make a difference without making noise about it. That's not enough anymore, Kimmel called out desperately. Washington paused at the exit. Not enough for who? For you? For Twitter? I've helped thousands of kids. If that's not enough, then nothing ever will be. People need leaders, Kimmel shouted. Leaders lead by example, Washington replied without turning. Not by lecturing from a desk 5 nights a week. You're a coward, Kimmel said, his last desperate attempt. Washington turned one final time. I'm done with this show, Jimmy. And judging by your ratings lately, so is America. He walked off. The door closed with finality. Kimmel stood alone, his face pale, realizing what just happened. The audience sat in stunned silence. Some began to leave. Others pulled out phones, already sharing what they'd witnessed. We'll be right back, Kimmel mumbled, but his voice was hollow. Backstage, Washington's team surrounded him. Denzel, are you okay? Check the Boys and Girls Club's website, he said simply. His publicist looked at her phone. Donations are up 800% in the last 15 minutes. Then something good came from this disaster, Washington said. Back in the studio, Kimmel remained frozen on stage. His producer approached. Jimmy, we need to talk. I know, Kimmel said quietly. I just picked a fight with Denzel Washington on national television. And lost. Social media exploded instantly. Denzel just ended Jimmy Kimmel, trended within minutes. The clip of Washington saying, I'm done with this show, got 10 million views in the first hour. Kimmel really thought he could break Denzel Washington? LMAO, one tweet read. I'm done with this show should be what we all say about Kimmel, another posted. The backlash was immediate and severe. ABC executives held emergency meetings. Sponsors pulled ads. Celebrity guests canceled appearances. Kimmel's show, already struggling in ratings, faced complete collapse. Kimmel tried damage control the next night. I want to apologize to Denzel Washington and our viewers, he began. But the audience was cold. Some walked out. The trust was broken. Washington never addressed it publicly. He didn't need to. His dignity in that moment said everything. He continued his work, his charity, his craft. Actions over words, as always. The incident became legendary. I'm done with this show became a cultural moment. A meme. A rallying cry for anyone fed up with performative outrage. Media professors analyzed it for years. The night Jimmy Kimmel forgot that some people's integrity isn't for sale. The night he learned that real strength doesn't need to shout. Washington's final words echoed long after he left. I'm done with this show. 5 words that ended more than just an episode. They ended Kimmel's credibility. The host who thought he could expose Denzel Washington's supposed cowardice had instead exposed his own smallness. The man who demanded others take stands had fallen flat on his face. In the end, the Boys and Girls Clubs received record donations. Washington had won by walking away, and Kimmel had lost everything by staying. The empty hot seat remained on stage for the rest of the taping, a monument to the moment when dignity met desperation, when action met accusation, when a real man said, I'm done, and meant it. Kimmel's show never recovered. The ratings dropped. The guests dried up. The network considered cancellation. All because he confused attacking with activism. All because he thought he could break someone who'd been unbreakable for 70 years. I'm done with this show. 5 words that changed everything. 5 words that showed America the difference between talking about values and living them. 5 words that proved sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away.